We have a question from Stephanie C. on Facebook. Stephanie wanted to know, can vitamin C flush take the place of Miralax daily for IBS-C?
Absolutely. So interesting question. No doubt. It had to kind of approach this from a few different ways. So firstly, just to kind of distinguish and clarify what we're actually talking about, IBS, important to distinguish it from IBD. So IBD is inflammatory bowel disease. What we're talking about is irritable bowel syndrome. So IBD looks at things like Crohn's and colitis, which is, more in reference to an inflamed bowel, inflamed intestinal mucosa, and that sort of thing. So IBS at a glance is the chronic, very common disorder, basically, of the gut-brain interaction. And so it's broken up into a few categories. There's IBS-C, which in this case, Stephanie referred to, IBS-D, which stands for diarrhea. There's an IBS-M, or mixed or alternating form of IBS.
What was the C? I don't think you said that.
Sorry, C was constipation.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's very important, obviously.
Okay, so C is constipation, D is diarrhea, and then M is mixed?
M is mixed, and then there's even an undetermined category. So
Stephanie is dealing with the
IBS-C.
Constipation. All right, so then that makes sense that Miralax, which is it's not a diuretic. What is it?
So it's technically an osmotic laxative.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So what this will do, it'll just draw water into the bowel, and in doing so, will make it a little bit easier to pass stool. So that's kind of the quick and dirty.
Yeah, and this it's not a particularly harmful laxative. There are laxatives that work by being a little more stimulatory to the intestines, kind of push essentially stool out. Those over time you can even become a little physically dependent on. So in the realm of laxatives, I would probably have to say that this one is, on the much milder end, because I think ultimately, whenever we get a question like this, I kind of want to know more. I want to read into a little more than what exactly the question is asking, and know what is the point here.
Right.
So what is your goal? Is your goal to go just do a C flush instead of Miralax because you're concerned about Miralax? Is it because you want to do more for your IBS-C and get to the root of it, and you feel like this is more natural and that's the way you want to go? So I think some of the sub-questions here that we've inferred will help us get there, but I think it's important to mention that while we're talking about Miralax, not on the most harmful end of the laxative scales.
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is the Miralax is fine. If it's working, you can keep doing that. You don't have to switch off. But if she's wanting to because it's more natural, now correct me if I'm wrong, but a flush is not something you do every day.
Right.
No.
And Miralax is, I assume.
Yes. Miralax is something you do daily. Again, like Dante said, is pulling water into the colon. That's an ongoing need from the way she's describing it. At the very least, a moderate case of IBS-C, the constipation variety. So a C flush is essentially a means to determine what your vitamin C or your ascorbate tolerance is, particularly of an individual product, which we'll get to. But you do the flush. That helps you to determine what your need or tolerance, maybe is a better word, for vitamin C is. And then you can use that to stay regular. Okay. So instead of using Miralax to stay regular, you are using vitamin C product to stay regular. And in doing so, you are doing something obviously natural. You're doing something that has a lot of other side benefits. But back to your main point, to differentiate between the flush itself, that's like phase one. That's the information gathering process. That's, you want to maybe have the day off of work and start off with an empty stomach first thing in the morning kind of thing. Basically what it is, you start off with, what we would say is definitely a quality product. You want it to be L-ascorbates, okay? It gets into chemistry, but there's a D form, mirror image. Your body can't use D. It doesn't even exist in nature. The only place it exists is in labs where vitamin C products are being synthesized, and those are not of the quality variety, because obviously your body cannot use those if they end up in said supplement. So you want to make sure it's stated on the bottle that it is L-ascorbate. That is the only form.
Literally the letter L?
Mm-hmm. L-ascorbate.
Not like Spanish L-ascorbate.
Correct.
All right, just making sure. Okay, so it's L-ascorbate.
Yes. So this is just, again, about the product that you're using.
Yeah.
Then you want to make sure it's buffered. Buffered, again, back into the chemistry end of things, deals with acid-base balance.
Did I kill you there?
It's unreal.
I'm sorry.
We got to come up with L-ascorbate and just have it Cinco de Mayo sale.
That's it. That's our new sale. Sorry.
So the buffered acid-base balance, that's the general term for buffered. In this case, ascorbic acid is the form that you find a lot of supplements for vitamin C in. So the buffering in this case, back to balance, is you're using the minerals to pull it to a more neutral, less acidic. That allows your body to not only get some side benefits of having the minerals, but it allows it to not be acidic. Mm-hmm. Your body can absorb more doing it that way as well.
And when you say neutral, you're talking about neutral, like basic versus acidic.
Yes.
Like high school chemistry.
Exactly.
Stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Basic soap. Acid is on the acid scale, and water is technically neutral. So I'm not saying that it's buffering it to water level, but more neutral. It's pulling its balance more towards it.
Since you're doing so much of it, you don't want it to be highly acidic.
Correct.
Got it.
For absorbability, and also so that it's not hard on the gut and hard on the stomach.
Okay, so if she does that, so if Stephanie does a C flush and she's found her amount and she's doing that and she's doing her 75% a day, theoretically she can let off Miralax and not be doing that anymore?
If we use basic logic, that would potentially be the case, but there's no actual studies as far as vitamin C versus Miralax, or even anywhere in the same ballpark of looking at how these two might play off each other. You can just, do basic math and say, hey, if this is helping me go, I may not need the other thing.
Okay.
So, and it also will depend. I do like how Joey started to answer the question in terms of, we would like to ask follow-up questions. Let's unpack her question a little more. Let's see, what's going on sort of behind the scenes. And with that, it would also be interesting to know if she is on any additional medications, or if this was actually the only thing she was taking. We can assume that this is the only thing she's taking.
Right.
But given IBS-C and sometimes how difficult it is to treat, she very well may be on a certain antidepressant or a prosecretory agent, or whatever else is out there to treat IBS. It would be important to know these kind of things, or even just like what kind of fiber is in her diet. Is she getting 25 to 35 grams a day? Is she eating any fruit? Is she taking a fiber supplement? Could a fiber supplement like clear fiber,
absolutely,
the guar gum, which we have, which could help.
Yeah.
So there's so many which ways to go, but in her case, sounds like she's very focused on C. And so I like that we kind of stayed there for now, but there's so many different ways to unpack this.
So what you're saying is this is the direct answer to your question. Now here's the other questions you should probably be asking as well.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.